In 1997, Alex and his wife Margot are a loving French couple with a calm, happy life. Their bond with the extended family is just as warm, and it shows during a lively dinner together. Alex's sister Anne is there too, along with Anne's close friend Helene. The next day, Alex and Margot decide to visit Lake Charmaine, the place where they first met as kids, bringing their dog with them. Memories of Alex's childhood surface as they return to the lake, back to those carefree days with family. Then Alex and Margot walk past clusters of pink flowers and head to a tree they have marked for years, carved with their initials and a set of lines that track how long they have been together. After that, they go for a swim. Later, they stretch out on a wooden platform by the water and talk about Anne, who does not want to sell the horse farm she inherited from their father. The conversation turns tense. Alex thinks the farm should be sold because he does not have the time or money to manage it, and Anne does not want to take care of it either. Margot's mood drops. She swims over to another platform to untie their dog, but suddenly the dog starts barking, and Margot screams.
Margot?
Alex rushes over without thinking, trying to reach her. The moment he climbs onto the platform, someone hits him with a baseball bat, knocking him unconscious. No one knows exactly what happened that night. All that's clear is this: Margot was found dead, and from that moment on, nothing is certain. This is Tell No One. Eight years pass after Margot's death. Alex continues working as a doctor, but he never truly escapes the shadow of losing her. Every year, he visits Margot's parents to honor her birthday. One day, Alex treats a familiar patient, the young son of a local thug named Bruno. The boy has hemophilia and has injured his head after falling off a sofa. Bruno storms into the hospital and makes a scene, demanding that Alex handle the case personally, because Bruno trusts no one else.
C'est quoi, Célie? Calmez-vous, monsieur. C'est ça, c'est bon, c'est bon.
D'accord. Bruno?
But that same day, something even stranger happens. Alex receives an anonymous email titled M+A, followed by the exact same carved lines from the tree at Lake Charmaine. The email gives him one instruction: click a link at 6:15 p.m. the next day, right on Margot's birthday. It also warns that the link will not open before that time. Not long after, Alex goes to his father's farm, where a police officer named Gillies wants to ask him and Anne about a case connected to Lake Charmaine. Anne says she was last there a year ago, while Alex has not returned since the night Margot died 8 years earlier. Then Gillies reveals the real reason he is there. 2 bodies have just been discovered buried near the lake, and one of them is a white man. After that, Gillies asks Alex and Anne to sign documents as formal responsibility for the questioning, but he also needs a blood sample from Alex for a DNA test. The police have found a baseball bat buried with the 2 bodies, and there is blood on it. That same bat was used to strike Alex on the night of the attack. The blood type on the bat matches Alex's blood, B positive. Gillies then connects Margot's death to a serial killer named Frank Certain, a man whose victims are all women and whose crimes often involve bodies found alongside dead animals. That detail closely matches the condition of Margot's body when she was discovered. However, Gillies admits that the police also suspect Alex himself. If Alex's DNA matches the blood on the bat, the case will be reopened. The police still cannot explain who called them that night, especially since Alex was found unconscious by the lake. And if Alex was struck and fell into the water, how did he end up back on the shore?
Sauf que les tueurs en série changent rarement de mode opératoire. Les coups, votre chute dans l'eau, et puis votre réveil à l'hôpital.
Trying to steady himself, Alex goes to a bar. His mind drifts through memories of Margot, their wedding day, their childhood moments at Lake Charmaine, carving their initials into the tree, and finally watching her coffin slide into the cremation furnace. Still haunted by the mysterious email, Alex keeps trying to open the link, but it refuses to work. Then the next day, at exactly 6:15 in the evening, Just as the email instructed, the link finally opens. Alex is stunned and overwhelmed. The email is from Margot herself, showing her alive on CCTV footage. She is not dead. Shortly after, another anonymous email arrives, likely from Margot again. This time, Alex is instructed to access a French Yahoo account using a specific username and password the following night at around 8:15 p.m. He is told to keep everything secret, as Margot claims there are people watching her every move. After work, Alex sits in silence, his mind blank as he tries to process what really happened 8 years ago. He watched Margot's coffin being cremated with his own eyes, even though he never saw her body. After being knocked unconscious that night, Alex woke up in the hospital 3 days later and was not allowed to see her remains, which were described as badly damaged. Soon after, Alex goes to Margot's parents' home and asks her father, Jax, a police officer, about Margot's condition 8 years earlier. Jax explains that animal carcasses were found around her body, her face was covered in deep cuts, her jaw was dislocated, her left eye swollen, and her nose broken. After describing this, Jax abruptly forces Alex to leave, angered by the questions. He refuses to revisit the incident or speak about his daughter's death any further.
Tu m'emmerdes avec tes questions.
Meanwhile, Anne is taking part in an equestrian competition organized by a powerful charity conglomerate called Children's Trust. The event is hosted by Gilbert Neville, a government official, and it is meant to honor the memory of his late son, Philippe. Among the spectators is a man named Bernard. Unknown to Anne, Bernard and his assistant have gained access to Alex's computer. They study the emails from Margot and the CCTV footage, but they are unable to log in using the username and password Margot provided in her latest message. At the same time, Alex shows the CCTV video of Margot to Helene. She urges him to ignore the emails, believing they are fake, since Margot is clearly supposed to be dead. The next day at the clinic, Alex is taken to the police station for questioning about a woman named Juliette Langlois. Alex explains that this name was Margot's childhood nickname. However, a detective named Eric keeps pressing him, treating Alex as if he were responsible for his wife's murder. The police reveal they have photos showing bruises on Margot from when she was still alive, and they suspect Alex had been abusing her. Alex firmly denies ever hurting Margot in any way.
En disant bonjour, je suis Juliette Langlois, j'ai réservé une chambre chez vous.
Vous comprenez ce que je vous dis là ou non?
Elsewhere, Helene reaches out to her friend Elizabeth and asks her to represent Alex as his lawyer. After hearing Alex's full story, Elizabeth suggests that the photos could have been taken after a past car accident, possibly used by Margot for an insurance claim. Later, Alex visits Margot's close friend Charlotte. Charlotte reveals that Margot once came to her house late at night, badly bruised, claiming she had been in a car accident. What makes it strange is that Margot asked Charlotte to lie if anyone questioned her, saying she had been with Margot in the car. In reality, Margot had only been with Alex that night. As Alex leaves Charlotte's house, he notices a mysterious woman watching him, a woman later identified as Brigitte. Back at Margot's parents' home, the police show the bruising photos to Margot's mother. They admit they cannot find any insurance claims or police records related to the alleged accident. This leads to a darker theory. The police begin to suspect that Alex may have arranged Margot's murder 8 years earlier to collect insurance money, possibly hiring someone to kill her and stage the scene to resemble one of Frank Certan's crimes, with animal carcasses placed around the body. This suspicion grows stronger after Frank Certan himself claims he did not kill Margot. The police also discover a key on one of the bodies recently found near Lake Charmin. It turns out to be the key to a safety deposit box belonging to Margot, registered under the name Juliette Langlois. Inside that deposit box, the police find the photos showing Margot's bruises. Despite all this, Margot's parents continue to support Alex. They believe he truly loved their daughter, never abused her, and was himself attacked during the incident, left in a coma for 3 days. At home, while trying the username and password from Margot's email, Alex suddenly realizes that his laptop is being monitored remotely. A strange IP address appears on the screen, confirming that someone else is watching. At the same time, Bernard and Brigitte murder Charlotte in her own home after forcing information out of her about Margot.
Il s'appelle Sylvia Dupont.
After trying to log in for nearly half an hour with no success, Alex finally understands that the words username, concert, and Olympia are not meant to be used directly. They are clues. They point to a concert by the band U2, which Alex and Margot attended together back in 1995 at the Olympia Concert Hall. Without wasting time, Alex rushes to an internet cafe. He ties his dog outside to wait and logs in using the username U2 and the password 1995. His guess is correct. The email opens, and the message asks him to meet Margot at Parc Monceau at 5 o'clock the next afternoon. Alex is filled with happiness, especially when he reads the final words of the message, where Margot says she loves him. Nearby, another customer sits quietly at the computer next to Alex. The next morning, Alex goes to the funeral home where Margot's body was cremated and meets the doctor who performed her autopsy. However, to access the report and the photos, Alex must submit a formal request, since the case has been closed for years. Meanwhile, the police swarm Charlotte's home and begin investigating her murder. Things take a dark turn when a witness claims to have seen Alex there. In reality, Alex was at the internet cafe at that exact time. Even so, the police immediately search Alex's house and find a gun that was previously used by Bernard. At this point, it is clear that Alex has been framed and the witness was paid off by Bernard. Luckily, Alex is not home, as he is still working at the clinic. He is stunned when Elizabeth informs him that Charlotte was murdered the night before, and that his house was searched, with the gun now being used as evidence against him. Elizabeth heads toward the clinic, knowing the police will arrive any moment. Not wanting the situation to spiral further, and with his meeting at Parc Monceau approaching at 5 o'clock, Alex makes a desperate decision. He jumps out of the window and immediately becomes the target of a police chase.
Bartas Polevkovich.
Alex runs onto a busy highway, then escapes into a market. Eventually, he hides inside a large trash container and calls one of his patients, the gangster Bruno, asking for help.
Qui est-ce qui a tiré?
Back at the clinic, the police have already arrived. Elizabeth begins to suspect that Alex might actually be responsible for Charlotte's murder, since his sudden escape makes him look guilty. Anne and Helene, however, believe Alex is simply running out of fear. On the other side of the investigation, even though Alex now looks like the prime suspect in both Charlotte's and Margot's deaths, Detective Eric still cannot find solid evidence to convict him. Too many questions remain unanswered. Why is everything only coming to light after 8 years? Who has been paying for Margot's safety deposit box all this time? And why was the key to that box found on a body recently discovered near Lake Charman? After that, Alex and Bruno visit a lawyer who once had dealings with Margot. The lawyer admits that he never handled Margot's case directly. However, he reveals something disturbing. Years ago, Margot was suspected of having a brief affair, lasting about 2 months, with a man named Olivier. Olivier was a former street kid raised by the Children's Trust organization and is now an adult. It turns out Olivier was once a suspect in the murder of Philippe, the son of the Children's Trust owner, the same place where Margot worked. Hearing this, Alex is left speechless, though he still does not fully believe the story. Alex later confronts Olivier, pressuring him for the truth. After a heated exchange, Olivier finally admits that he did not kill Philippe. Instead, Margot protected him by claiming they were having an affair on the night Philippe was murdered. In reality, there was no affair at all. Even Olivier himself never understood why Margot chose to do that. At this point, 3 major cases are clearly intertwined. The first is the incident from 8 years ago, when Margot was believed to have been killed by Frank Certain at Lake Charman. The second is Charlotte's murder, where the people who hired Bernard and his crew were trying to frame Alex. Yet Bernard was also monitoring Margot's emails on Alex's computer, which suggests a direct connection between whoever hired Bernard and Margot herself. The third case is Philippe's murder, a crime that Margot was somehow involved in as well. Later that afternoon, Alex goes to Parc Monceau, following the time and place Margot mentioned in her email. And yes, Margot is truly alive. As she starts to walk toward Alex, she suddenly stops after noticing a man speaking into a walkie-talkie while keeping his eyes on Alex. Elsewhere, since Bernard's group does not actually know what Margot looks like, they mistake another woman sitting next to Alex for her.
Oh, elle se barre.
Tu m'entends? Tu m'entends?
Margot quickly leaves the park. Alex recognizes his wife from behind and follows her, but before he can reach her, he is suddenly kidnapped and thrown into a van. Fortunately, Bruno arrives just in time, rescues Alex, and kills Brigitte. Meanwhile, Detective Eric is reviewing the autopsy report that he personally collected from the funeral home before Alex could access it. Eric also receives information from a colleague that Alex has booked a flight to Buenos Aires, scheduled to depart at 10 that night. Elsewhere, Bernard is having a private conversation with Gilbert at his home, talking about the death of Gilbert's son, Felipe. The story then shifts to Margot at the airport. She is devastated after seeing the news about the murder of her close friend, Charlotte, especially when Alex is named as the main suspect. At the same time, Eric and his team are already at the airport, rushing to intercept Alex based on his flight details. But the truth is different. The plane ticket was deliberately bought by Alex to mislead the police into thinking he had fled to Buenos Aires. In reality, Alex is hiding at Bruno's house. From there, Alex contacts his lawyer, Elizabeth, determined to prove his innocence in Charlotte's murder. His alibi comes from the internet cafe, where witnesses confirm that during the time of Charlotte's killing, Alex was clearly there with his dog. Elizabeth pushes the police to drop the charges against Alex in the Charlotte case, which has already gone viral on television. Meanwhile, Eric meets with Helene and asks about Alex's current whereabouts. After reviewing Margot's autopsy report, Eric is now convinced that Alex is not responsible for either Charlotte's death or Margot's supposed murder. Eric then shares the autopsy report, which claims that Margot was using narcotics. Strangely, the funeral home included no autopsy photos in the file. Helene cannot offer much help since she does not know where Alex is, nor does she know what happened to the missing autopsy photos. Later, when Helene meets Anne finally reveals a long-kept secret. 8 years earlier, before the incident at Lake Charman, Margot had come to Anne covered in bruises, the same bruises shown in the police photos. It was Anne who took those pictures at Margot's request and later gave them back to her. Margot told Anne that the injuries were caused by Philippe, though she never explained the details. Margot also insisted that Anne keep everything secret as if it had never happened. This confirms one crucial fact. The bruises had nothing to do with a car accident.
Oui, Elisabeth. Merci beaucoup.
A few days later, Alex finally appears at Helene's house and reunites with her family. Anne then tells Alex the full truth about Margot's bruises, a truth she has hidden for 8 years. After that, Alex meets Eric and his team, who show him Margot's autopsy report, now confident that Alex is not the killer. Alex is furious as he reads the report. The body described in the autopsy is clearly not Margot's. His wife was not a drug user, and her height does not even match the measurement listed in the report.
Pourquoi?
Arrêtez vos conneries, hein, elle n'a jamais fait un mètre.
Jacques Laurentin, votre beau-père.
Eric's investigation later reveals that the autopsy photos were stolen long ago by Margot's own father, Jacques. This leads to one conclusion. The only way to uncover what really happened at Lake Charman 8 years ago is to confront Jacques himself. Eric also reveals another critical discovery. Inside the safety deposit box registered under the name Juliette Langlois, Margot's childhood name, he found a weapon registered to Alex's father. Forensic analysis confirms that this weapon was once used to kill Philippe. Not long after, a bouquet of pink flowers arrives for Alex. He immediately realizes that the flowers must have come from near Lake Charman and were likely sent by Margot as a sign that she is there. Alex then goes to Margot's parents' house, knowing that every word he says will be monitored by Eric and his team through a hidden microphone on his clothing. When he arrives, Jacques greets him by pointing a gun at him, already aware that Eric would soon suspect him. That day, Margot's mother is not at home. Jacques finally begins to reveal the truth. 2 months before Margot's supposed death, a young child raised by the Children's Trust charity came to Margot and claimed that Philippe had been abusing them for over a month. Margot confronted Philippe about this at his house, with the plan that Jacques would step in and arrest him if Philippe confessed. Instead, Philippe denied everything. His anger spiraled out of control, and he repeatedly assaulted Margot until she was badly bruised. Unable to watch his daughter being beaten, Jacques shot Philippe dead. He used a shotgun that once belonged to Alex's late father, which he had found stored in the warehouse. At that moment, Alex was away on a work assignment and was not at home.
Margot cherche à comprendre avant la disparition de Marc. Il y avait ce gamin
For a brief moment, Eric's team loses the audio feed and cannot hear the conversation between Alex and Jax. When the signal returns, Jax continues the story. After Philippe's body was dumped in a trash container and later discovered, his father Gilbert quickly pointed the finger at Olivier, who already had a criminal record. Margot could not accept the idea of Olivier going to prison. To protect him, she created an alibi, claiming that she and Olivier were having an affair on the night Philippe was killed. She also asked Anne to photograph her bruises so they could be used as evidence if Gilbert ever accused her or Jax of killing his son. As expected, Gilbert grew suspicious. Margot showed him the photos of her injuries as proof of Philippe's violence. Meanwhile, Jax secretly tapped Gilbert's phone to track his movements. Through this, Jax discovered that Gilbert had hired 2 thugs to murder Margot at Lake Charmin, while she was alone with Alex. Without Margot knowing, Jax secretly negotiated with one of the hired men, offering him twice the money. He ordered him to knock Margot unconscious, place her in the trunk of a car, and kill the other thug without reporting back to Gilbert. But events did not go exactly as planned. When Margot screamed and Alex rushed to help her, one of the thugs struck Alex and knocked him out. It was Jax who carried Alex back to the edge of the lake while he was unconscious. After the thug killed his partner, Jax immediately killed him as well, making sure there would be no witnesses left behind.
C'est que l'un des deux était encore plus pourri que l'autre. Il respectait le plan prévu.
After killing both hired thugs, Jax buried their bodies nearby. Those remains were only discovered by the police a few weeks ago. Next, Jax carried out the final stage of his plan. He used another woman's body and staged it to look like one of serial killer Frank Certan's victims, surrounded by animal carcasses. This fit perfectly with Gilbert's original intention to have Margot murdered and framed as another victim of Frank Certan. Jax chose the body of a woman who was a drug addict and had been stabbed to death at a bus terminal. He deliberately mutilated her face, then placed Margot's bracelet and wedding ring on the body so Gilbert would believe it was truly Margot. With the face badly damaged, identification became nearly impossible. Using his authority as a high-ranking police officer, Jax made sure no one was allowed to see the body, including Alex. This ensured that no one would realize the woman was not Margot. Jax intentionally kept Margot in the dark about the full plan. He feared that if she told Alex, Alex might go to the police. If that happened, Jax and his entire family, including Alex and Anne, could be killed. Gilbert had the money to hire thugs and had already bribed members of law enforcement and prosecutors. After the lake incident, Jax bought Margot a ticket to Madrid and sent her away to live there. To keep her safe and far from Gilbert, Jax lied to Margot and told her that Alex had died that night. He only reveals the truth now because the police recently uncovered the 2 buried bodies. Once the news broke and Alex's name appeared in the media, Gilbert finally realized something was wrong. If the 2 men he hired were dead, then someone else must have killed them. And that could only mean one thing: Margot was still alive. On the other side, Margot sees the news and finally learns that Alex is still alive. When she confronts her father, Jax can only apologize for hiding the truth all these years. His one fatal mistake was the safety deposit box key that one of the thugs took and that Jax later buried along with the bodies. Jax then reveals another buried truth. 6 months before the Lake Charmin incident, Alex's late father had reported suspected child abuse involving Philippe after witnessing it at the horse stables.
Ah, c'est toi, Philippe?
Non mais... Va-t'en!
Casse-toi!
That report eventually reached Gilbert. Soon after, Alex's father was killed by Bernard's gang, acting on Gilbert's orders. His death was made to look like a hunting accident, which is what Alex had believed all along. Hearing this, Alex is overwhelmed with rage and even points a gun at Jax for failing to investigate the crime. But Alex also understands the reality. As a powerful businessman and government official, Gilbert holds far more influence than Jax ever could. In the end, Jax hands over a complete file detailing Gilbert's crimes and the actions of his men. But as soon as Alex leaves the house, Jax does the unthinkable. Crushed by guilt for hiding the truth for 8 years, betraying his daughter, lying to Alex, and violating his duty as a police officer, he chooses to end his own life. With Jack's recordings and the criminal files he left behind, the police finally have enough evidence to arrest Gilbert Neville.
Capitaine Bartas de la brigade criminelle.
As Alex drives away, the full truth behind Jack's story finally sinks in. Back at Margot's parents' house, Jax had realized their conversation was being monitored by the police. That is why he briefly turned the television volume up, creating a cover to reveal what really happened, meant only for Alex to understand.
Tu es avec le fusil de ton père.
Putain de merde, c'est quoi cette friture?
Mais j'ai fait de la tôle.
The person who killed Philippe that night was not Jax. It was Margot herself, using the shotgun that once belonged to Alex's father. Jax only helped dispose of Philippe's body and hid the truth to protect his daughter from going to prison. With that realization weighing heavily on him, Alex drives to the place where their love story began and ended. Lake Charman. He knows Margot called him there through the pink flowers she sent. When Alex arrives, he walks to the tree where they carved the letters M+A. His emotions finally break as he notices 8 new lines carved into the bark, one for each year they were apart. Margot had been returning to this spot every year, adding a new mark, while Alex never came back after the incident. Then the person Alex has missed for 8 long years appears, and at last, after all that time, they are reunited. So the moral of the story is that love can survive anything, but the years lost to fear, lies, and silence are wounds that never truly heal.